Hi, I'm Oda. Are you enjoying Jump Festa? I'm watching One Piece Super Stage with you. It's fun, indeed. Actually, I visit Jump Festa every year to have a dinner with the Straw Hats VAs after Jump Festa. By the way, One Piece will finally enter Wano next year. Some well-informed audience might think, you said the same thing last year, right? Yes, I did say that because I thought One Piece would be able to enter Wano in 2017. This time, I'd like to add new information. I'll introduce one of the legends which lurks in the One Piece world. The greatest enemy ever for Straw Hats will hinder their way. Perhaps it will be something related to Whitebeard. Oops. It seems I'm being too talkative. Can you believe Marineford Summit War will look cute compared to that? Anyway, there are tons of stuff I want to draw next year as well. I'll keep moving forward with my full force. I'm sure you're gonna love it. Yo, what's poppin'? Back like we never left. I know you didn't expect me to be back this quickly. I know you expected me to come back when the chapter drop or some shit. Well, we eradicating that schedule, okay? We're gonna try to drop a video. I'm not even gonna say when we're gonna try to drop videos, but we're gonna try to drop videos more frequently. So today we're gonna be talking about Big Mom, Oda's plan for Big Mom, and what I see going forward, based on Oda's plan and what I see happening in the recent chapter. Or the recent chapters. I know a lot of people don't even want to talk about Big Mom right now. They hate where Oda's going with the story, and I just want to tell people again, relax. It's not the end of the world. Big Mom will be fine. Everything with her storyline will be fine. Now, for Big Mom, we have to look at specific things from her story and where Oda is going with it. Without further ado, make sure you like the video if you're here for the first time. Even if you're not here for the first time. If you're here for the first time, make sure you subscribe. But make sure everybody like the video, subscribe, and let's talk about this Big Mom theory. Okay, so I say Big Mom theory, but in all honesty, I mean Big Mom / Rock / Kaido / Wano theory, because at the end of the day, I'm going to be touching on these different things to kind of predict everything that's going to happen going forward. The first thing I want to touch on is Big Mom's exact goal at this point, because for Big Mom, from what we know, she wants Luffy's head, and we saw in chapter 907, I believe, when Big Mom was talking to Kaido on the phone and basically talking about her disdain for Luffy, and she says she wants his head, and if she doesn't capture Luffy, it's a stain on her reputation. So right now, Big Mom's goal is to capture Luffy. We find out about Big Mom's and Kaido's relationship. At some point, Big Mom did something for Kaido, and Kaido owes Big Mom in some way, and they apparently were on the same ship after Hina referenced that. Well, she said, speaking of Big Mom and Kaido, and she went into the whole backstory as far as them being on the same ship, referencing rocks. So again, going back to Hina and what Hina said, Hina basically was saying Big Mom and Kaido, referencing them being on the same crew, and she went into information about the rocks. And Garp kind of downplayed it a bit, but she went into the fact that the rocks, or Garp went into the fact that the rocks, their era was before Rogers. And apparently it was some conglomerate in which like a bunch of strong pirates were together, and at the top stood their captain, and Garp was responsible for the takedown of these pirates. Now, we don't know the context in regards to how these pirates went down. We don't know everything that happened around it. We didn't know if Garp was by himself. We just know Garp is called Garp the Hero because he took down the Rocks Pirates, who was essentially ruling the seas before Rogers. So I presume that the Rocks Pirates were just a group of pirates that came together just to form this unbelievable force to combat the world government, right? It was almost like the Rocks Pirates were somewhat like the revolutionaries, but not so ambitious to take them down. They just wanted to oppose them and have enough forces to take them down, or to stand on their own to protect themselves. So it was kind of like a band of pirates working on the one guy. So apparently this one guy, Garp took him down, and now I presume that he's the lurking legend. That's the guy that Oda was referencing in this Jump Festa message. In the midst of all of this, Hina even says even without their captain, they're growing stronger. So then this goes back to the Sakazuki and Kizaru conversation. Wait, they talk about an unknown military force in Wano, and then Hina references their forces are still growing. So in some way, the world government knows that the forces of the rocks are still growing. Now, a few things. Could be talking about the forces of Kaido and Big Mom separately, because they were once on the rocks. She's referencing their forces getting stronger. Or there's a separate force of pirates that's growing somewhere that we don't know about yet. In regards to the Rocks Pirates, it's so many pirates that are linked to them. Whitebeard is one of them, Bakken, and of course Shaki. The key number here is 40 years ago. It's used several times. Marco references Whitebeard and Bakken being on the same ship. Of course, Bakken, she is Weevil's mother, and they're going around trying to take down Marco and the remnants of the Whitebeard pirates, all that shit. She was apparently on the same crew with Whitebeard 30-something, 40 years ago. Shaki was a great pirate 40 years ago, and she even references that Garp came after her 40 years ago. So we assume that Kaido, Big Mom, Whitebeard, Shaki, Bakken, all these people were on the same crew or under the same captain. And to think about that, those strong pirates under one crew, that is insane. That is insane if they were indeed all on the Rocks part. We also can't forget that at the end of the chapter with Kaido and Big Mom, Shanks references the pirate to the Gursa that he wants to talk about. So it all goes hand in hand that the pirate that he wants to talk about is the lurking legend, the captain of the Rocks pirates, that one would presume is Kaido's hiding or protecting in some way. So all of this in some way is entangled in this crazy web that we just have to figure out which way it's going. Let's fast forward to where we are in chapter 926, as where when we go to Udon, in the camp in Udon, we see that there's a guy in a cage. So whoever this guy is in a cage, he's apparently a strong guy that they feed once a day by giving him a poisoned fish. And of course, typically that was supposed to torture you, but that's what he's living off of. So for some reason, they're keeping this guy alive. Now, if this guy is indeed the lurking legend, it's a lot of things that tie into it, because Kaido being under this guy at some point would want to keep him alive because of his resources and the possible military force that he has under him. Another reason could be just the sentimental value of keeping your captain alive, or just Kaido wanting to keep him for his forces, because Kaido, he wants to see the greatest war the world has ever seen. He wants to see the world burn in despair. Honestly, that's all Kaido wants. So at the end of the day, if you can keep someone that strong, why would he not? He even said keeping Luffy and Kid, keeping those guys as well to add to his forces. So Kaido is a pretty reasonable guy, but at the end of the day, his end goal is that final war. How does this tie into Big Mom and what's been happening? Again, going back, Big Mom, her goal is to capture Luffy. Following Luffy to Wano, she suffers some amnesia of some sort, and at this point, Big Mom is an ally of the Straw Hats because she doesn't know who she is, and right now she's working with Chopper, Momonosuke, those guys. And the next stop is Udon. So like we spoke of before, Udon, of course, is where Luffy, Kid, and this guy is, this legend that we presume. That's where he is. So if Big Mom goes there, one of the things we talked about, again, I referenced this in the review, that if they go there, the only thing there is like, not kibidango, but like biscuit pellets. Or those small things that they had to earn. That's the only food we know of that's there, and poisonous fish. Big Mom goes there for the Shiriko. If it's not there, she could go into a rage. Now, at this point, Luffy and Kid, I don't think they're ready to take down a Yonko even together. So they're not going to be able to stop Big Mom. Obviously, nobody else there would be able to stop Big Mom, other than this guy we presume him to be the lurking legend. So honestly, Oda's setup as far as Big Mom and the plan for Big Mom was to get her to Udon in some way. Of course, the execution of it, one could question, because everybody had a stigma around Big Mom based off what happened in Whole Cake, which honestly, I don't think is that bad. I don't think everything that happened to Big Mom was that bad in Whole Cake. I think things were rather somewhat convenient for the Straw Hats to get out, but I don't think everything that happened to her was that bad. I think her performance wasn't terrible where I'm like, she's not a Yonko anymore. However, I do understand the complaints. So, back to Big Mom and this lurking legend. Going to Udon, she goes on rampage. Luffy and Kid cannot stop her. The only person that could possibly calm her down, who's strong enough and maybe a voice that she recognizes, is her captain, this lurking legend. So this lurking legend, Big Mom and this guy, they meet up again. And for Big Mom, she could either go to the point where she follows him and she sobers up, and at that point, the goal is to take down Luffy. But for Kaido, what does this mean? Kaido at this point has his guy for a reason. If this guy gets out, say his forces are in Wano, like it was somewhat referenced, this war that Kaido wants could be right under his nose and he may not even recognize it. Because if we have a battle between Kaido's forces, Big Mom's forces, the legendary Rocks Pirates and their forces, and Luffy and his forces, that's an amazing war. And I also expect the world government to intervene, because Kaido, or rather Sakazuki and Kizaru, or Borsalino, I kind of would not tell Kizaru to attack Wano in that area, in that setting. It would have to be somewhat a covert mission where he sends a group of militants or military folks to go down there and to somewhat basically pick a side. I don't think they would break up the war, but at the end of the day, they would want to be there to somewhat facilitate the war. If they had to help anyone down there, I would say they would probably help Kaido, because they're already working with Kaido. So they have a vested interest in Kaido winning. The other important thing is that Oda said this would be the Straw Hats' greatest enemy. All right, so When we thought about that, we wrapped our head around, okay, is it the world government and Akainu CP0? And if the Rocks Pirates and the legendary Rocks Pirates, this captain is the Straw Hat's greatest enemy in the combination of Big Mom, Kaido, and the Rocks, of course, that would be their greatest enemy. But again, we think about Endgame and we think about Agurusei and Im-sama. It's hard to picture that as the greatest enemy. Oda could be, I don't know, could be exaggerating, but if this guy is the greatest enemy of the Straw Hats that we presume is going to appear, they have to be on another level. And what better person than the legendary Rocks Pirates, or the captain of the Rocks Pirates? I don't think Kaido is getting out of Wano, not even alive or unscathed. I think this is the end for Kaido, whatever goes down in Wano, and this war and whatever culminates here is going to have to be something amazing and enormous enough to justify what Kaido wanted. Now, at the end of the day, we all said this is what Kaido wanted. He wanted a great war, so the war can't possibly happen on Wano. Right, Brock? What the fuck are you talking about? Fair. But just because a character wanted something does not mean it's necessarily going to happen. Ace wanted to come back to Wano, to liberate Wano. That's what he wanted to do. Never got the opportunity. So Kaido may want this great, extravagant war, may not have the opportunity to. Go back to Marco. Marco wanted to protect Whitebeard's treasure, that country, from Blackbeard, didn't have the means to or the power to. You could want a lot of things. Luffy wanted to protect his crew in Sabaody, did not have the means to. So Kaido may want this great war on his terms, but he may not have that choice. The great war that Kaido wanted may already be here. With Big Mom and her forces being there, maybe the Rocks Pirates forces being there, Luffy and his forces, and Kaido and his forces, possibly the world government invading, I think we have the recipe for an amazing war that would probably put the Marineford War to shame just because we have 2 Yonko involved. 3 if you involve Luffy, or include Luffy. And then the Rocks Pirates, and then the possibility of admirals being on Wano. That's an amazing war that I would like to see. And again, the remnants of the Whitebeard Pirates may be involved as well. Even Weevil may show up on Wano if he's actually chasing after Marco, because we expect Marco to show up at some point. Guys, I think the war that Kaido wants is going to be right there in Wano. I don't think we're going anywhere else. We're not going to have a war on Fishman Island or in Elbaf. All the ingredients are here. Now we just got to make great soup. Anyway, give me your thoughts. What do you think happens based on all the information I laid out? I think that's what's going to happen. I think the war that Kaido wants is right in front of him. He doesn't want it to be that way, but hey, bro, it's here. So let me know your thoughts. Like the video if you did. Subscribe to the channel if you have not. Like I said at the beginning, if you're here for the first time, make sure you subscribe. If you haven't, by this point, if you made it this far, please subscribe. Like the video and make sure share it as well, because, you know, that helps. Again, thank you guys for the support. Shout out to all my patrons. I appreciate you. Blackbeard did nothing wrong. It's coming, I promise. I'll catch you guys later.